Ashley here with Brindle Babe Designs. In this video I'm going to show you how to make the Boho market tote. It's an easy knit pattern. To get started, we are going to be using Lion Brand's Twisted Cotton Blend. This is a size 5 bulky weight yarn. It is kind of like a thick and thin yarn, and it's a 69% cotton, 31% acrylic, and each ball is 98 yards, and you will need 2 skeins to make both the small and the large size. And this one I'm doing the orange and ecru color. And now for your knitting needles, you'll need 8mm or US 11 circular needles. And I don't recommend using wood needles for this yarn. It doesn't allow your stitches to move smoothly, so I recommend either metal or plastic. Now to get started, we're going to do a long tail cast on, and you are going to cast on a total of 62 stitches. Now for this video, I will be working the size small bag, which your cast on stitches will not change between the small and the large. It's just the length that will change, and I'll explain that later on. Okay, now that you have your 62 stitches, we are going to join the 2 ends together to form our round. So I'm just gonna pull my cord out so that I can push my stitches together. And you wanna be really careful in this part and make sure that your stitches are not twisted. I know it'll be a little difficult, you might have to try a couple different times like even I did, but just make sure that you're not twisting your stitches at all. Now to begin our first round, you're going to knit the first stitch, and you're going to knit it by taking both strands of yarn that you have on the end here, just like so. So the tail and your working yarn, you want to use that to knit around your first stitch. And you will only do this for your first stitch. Continuing on, you'll just do a regular knit, and you'll use it with your working yarn. Now go ahead and knit each stitch around until you get back to the beginning. Now when you get back to your very first stitch, you want to make sure you knit through both of the strands of yarn. Don't knit through each one, because that will increase and give you the wrong number of stitches. At this point, you want to go ahead and place your stitch marker after you work the first stitch, and you're going to go ahead and knit 8 more rounds. So you will have a total of 9 rows when you are complete. Once you've completed your 9 rows, we're gonna move on to the lace section of our bag. So this first part is the top section, and we're just working our way down to the bottom. So you will pass your stitch marker over, and for the first stitch, you move your yarn to the front as if to purl, and then you will yarn over and you will purl 2 together, and then yarn over and purl the next 2 together, and you will repeat this until you get to the end of the row. Okay, now this is going to be a total of a 4-row repeat. So we just completed our first lace row. Oops, let me pick that back up. And so for our second row in our 4-row repeat, you're just going to go ahead and move your stitch marker over and place your yarn to the back of your needle as if to knit, and you're just going to go ahead and knit each stitch around. So I moved on ahead a little bit just so you could see, but now we're going to go over the third row in your 4-row repeat. So you just pass your stitch marker over, and you are going to knit the first stitch instead of starting off with the purl 2 together. You're just going to go ahead and knit the first stitch, and then you're going to pass your yarn over, and purl 2 together. And that will remain the same. You'll just continue to purl 2 together until you get to the last 3 stitches, and I'll meet you over there. Okay, we are down to our last 3 stitches. So all you're gonna do is purl the last 2 together, and then the very last stitch you will just go ahead and place your yarn back to the behind your needle and knit the last stitch. So the only difference in this row is you're knitting the first stitch, knitting the last stitch. The purling together remains all the same, but this makes it staggered, the lace staggered, and gives a nice lace detailing that way, so you can see. Now for the last row in your 4-row repeat, you're just gonna go ahead and knit each stitch around. So first row, you will yarn over, purl 2 together, repeat that around. Row 2, you knit each stitch around. Row 3, you will knit the first stitch, yarn over, purl the rest of the stitches until you get to your very last stitch, and you will knit the last stitch. Row 4, you will knit each stitch around, and that is your 4-row repeat. So you will repeat your lace section until the length reaches approximately 6.5 to 7 inches, and that is for the small size. And I'm measuring from the base of my top section, which is the stockinette section, to the bottom of my work. So for the large section, or the large bag, you will go ahead and work your lace section until you reach approximately 9 to 9.5 inches. Now we're going to move on to the bottom section of our bag. And to do that, you are just going to go ahead and knit the next 3 rounds. I moved on ahead, but after you've finished your 3 rows, your 3 regular knit rows, we're going to go on to our decreases. So you're going to go ahead and remove your stitch marker, knit 2 together, and then knit the next 5, and then knit 2 together. So for every 5 stitches, you will decrease. So on the 6th stitch, you will decrease 1 stitch. And you will repeat this until you get down to a total of 24 stitches left. Okay, now that we've finished the body, I'm going to show you how to close up the bottom. You're just going to go ahead and cut a long tail at the end. We're not going to actually do any casting off, so I'm going to show you how to cinch up in this next section. So you're just going to go ahead and take your tapestry needle, and continuing from the last stitch to the next stitch you would work, you're just going to go ahead and thread through your tapestry needle and yarn. And you're going to do that all the way around until you get back to the beginning of your row. Now that you've gone through each stitch, we're gonna go ahead and pull all the stitches off of the needles. They may be a little snug, so you may have to work it a little harder. Alright, so now all of our stitches are off of our needles, and we're just going to go ahead and cinch up the bottom. So you just pull the yarn taut as tight as you can, and then you'll bring the yarn back to the inside of your bag so that we can go ahead and weave in the yarn and tie it off and everything on the inside. Now we're going to go ahead and work our last step, which is the strap. And to begin, you can really place your stitches anywhere here. So just take the top stitches, the top two, place your needle in, and pull your yarn through. And at this point, you're going to do 2 strands of yarn together. This makes for a stronger strap. Make sure that tail doesn't come out because we'll tie it off on the end and weave it in. But to continue working, picking up stitches, you're just going to the next stitch and then yarn over and pull up that stitch. And you want to do that until you have a total of 5 stitches. Just gonna go ahead and work a garter stitch, so just go ahead and knit each row, and you're gonna repeat that until you have a total of 56 rows. Okay, so now we are going to attach our strap to the other side of our bag. To do that, all I did was laid the bag flat and just picked up the stitches directly across. I didn't do any counting or anything, but if you wanted to do counting, you can. So on this part, I messed up a little bit on shooting this. So instead of putting your needle through the front of your bag, the right side, you're gonna actually do it from the inside. But you will follow these same steps. You'll insert your needle into the top of your bag. You'll go through the stitch on your other needle, pull up a loop, and then pull through the top of your bag. It's a little hard to explain, but you can see it here. The only thing I would suggest is doing this from the inside of the bag so that you don't have a big raised like seam on the outside. to finish off all these stitches, I just went ahead and casted off all the stitches. So you knit 1, knit 2, bring the first stitch over the second one, and pull it off your needle. Just go ahead and pull a small tail and cut the yarn, and this is your last step. All you need to do is weave in your ends and you're all complete. The bag may end up looking a little small, but it definitely stretches, especially when you put things in there like fruit and stuff. So it'll definitely stretch out more. Aside from the strap should stay in a good spot. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks so much for following along. Be sure to like and subscribe. I've got a ton more knit and crochet patterns that I try and post every month. So thanks so much.